Well, hello, fellas. I got a tweet today from a fellow named Melium64, and I was going to just answer him on the Twitter, but I says, this would make a good video because I've had this question before. Let me just read it to you real quick. Melium says, Jaffe, I wish more game devs treated us with more respect and not insulting us with hand-holding, regenerating health, and waypoints that tell us where the next objective is. He wants more respect from game devs. So I want to talk about that a little bit. I've had experience with seeing this kind of boil up as a complaint since, we certainly saw it on the last game a couple of years back, Drawn to Death, and we saw it on Twisted 2012, is that the quick answer is it's not that you're not being treated with respect. It's that core gamers who like, you guys who love the hard stuff and don't want to have your hands held, you're not in the majority of consumers of video games. That's just the way it is. And I'm with you on some of this stuff. Like I don't like traditionally hard games. I do like things though that still fall into that bucket of hard. Like I know you've seen the kind of infamous what first-person shooting levels used to look like, which was like Quake and Doom, that were just totally elaborate and cool, and you get lost and you felt like you were really in the world. And then what they look like now, it's gotten a little better, but kind of just like corridor crawls. I miss more interesting level designs when it comes to bigger budget games and stuff. But certainly combat and exploration and a variety of things go into the bucket of what makes something hard. It's not that you're not being respected. It's that you're not, as frankly, if I can just be, which I can and I will because I always am, allow me to be just brutally honest about it. It's not that you're not respected. It's that you're not even really thought about. And not because, fuck you, we hate you. But if you're talking AAA, the budgets are too big to think about checking that box, right? And what's really, must be weird if you're a hardcore gamer. A lot of hardcore gamers, not all, but a lot of them also really like the production value. Well, the reason you're not thought about is because the budgets have gone through the roof. As I've said before, Twisted Metal 1 cost $850,000 to make Twisted Metal 1. Sold it for what, $49? We sold over 1 million copies. You do the math because I'm not good at math, but it's a lot of money. Today AAA games are up in the, 150 to 220 million and more in certain rare cases. So I've sat in focus tests before where I've seen this. Look, I don't like puzzles hand-holding me. I remember playing, it was the first or second Uncharted, or maybe it was I don't know which one it was. It was the one where if you were in a room and you took enough time and they kind of realized, oh, he's stuck or she's stuck, either a button prompt would appear like saying, hey, if you want a hint, or even the camera would just kind of aim up to where you needed to solve the puzzle. And I'm a guy who came up with like Infocom games and point and click LucasArts games and Sierra Online games. I don't want that, right? I want Uncharted to actually deliver on the sense of adventure like the back of the box said. Part of the adventure is being indie and solving these crazy booby traps and puzzles. But, when you're spending that kind of money, you sit in focus test and you watch somebody pull their hair out over and over and over going, I don't know what the fuck to do. I'm just coming home from a hard day at work. PlayStation was on the Super Bowl. It looked like fun. It looked like something, anybody could play. And then you throw me this fucking game and it's hard as fuck. For me, not for me in that case, but for the, the average person who doesn't consider themselves a gamer. So it's not that you're being disrespected. You're just simply being ignored, right? In the AAA space in that sense. Like even if you look at the budget for something like Bloodborne is a rarity. Demon Souls is a rarity, but there's clearly money to be made there. But the cost of those games are dwarfed by the cost of the games that are made for more of a mainstream AAA audience, right? So I'll say it again, what I always say is the core gamer is like any other medium. The aficionados, the hardcore, are being marginalized and pushed to the alt space, the indie space, where it doesn't cost as much to create, but it's very appealing to creators to work in that space that want to push the envelope and provide a more interesting, nuanced, deep, excuse me, and in the case of Melium, challenging experience. So I would say, yeah, I mean, that's my answer to your question. If you want that, it exists. It exists in huge numbers in the indie space. The AAA space, you know, I mean, look, I made a tweet the other day that has some heat on it still about, I think, you know, a lot of the console games I've played recently have been too hard for me. And some of it's game design and, like, you know, there was some weird collision shit in Kenna, and some of it's intentional. But regardless, I'm not a fan of that. But at least you got your Returnal. At least you got your Kenna if you think it's hard, right? You know, forget my own personal issues with Metroid. There's a lot of people who love the new Metroid and say it's still hard. So those exist, and, you know, companies are making them, but the idea that it's ever going to be like it was, it only will be that way in the indie space, or in the big budget space if Sony or Microsoft or whatever starts making $1 to $3 million bets again, just for, like, to fill out Game Pass or PS Now or whatever. But you know, again, you know, watch those. I don't know if anyone's ever released focus tests. They probably haven't, because you can't show people's faces and stuff. But to sit in those focus tests and to watch them go from I'm challenged, like, to watch them be in that sweet spot of I'm challenged, I'm engaged, and I solved it, I feel great, to I'm challenged, I'm engaged. Are you fucking kidding me? I've been here for 40 minutes in this room, or in these 3 rooms. I don't know what the fuck to do. If I was playing this at home, I would quit. I don't know. I mean, I would challenge you, if you're sitting in that room and you're an executive or a director or designer, and you see the budget and you know what your break even is, I would be surprised if, when those numbers came back, what did you rate that level? 1 out of 10 fun factor. And they're like, well, it's really cool, but that puzzle brought it down to a 5. I would be stunned if you didn't go back to your team and say, you know what? All we got to do is pop up a little message right here. Fuck it, let's try it. The next weekend, you got brand new people in. That 5 out of 10 level has now gone up to an 8 or a 9 out of 10, because the level's great, and now they know how to solve it, right? So it's less about disrespect and more about the relationship between the cost going up and the number of players that want to have that kind of challenge, Melium, that you're talking about. You know, there's not a lot of them, comparatively speaking. So I hope that answers your question. I'll see you soon. Bye.